song. Robin Robin was reporting no sound. So far, I sounds good to me.
It was my stupid thing. I swear, I absolutely swear that I clicked the thing. It looks like I didn't click the thing. Can you guys hear me now? Everything should be
I can
cool.
hear you. I can hear you. I can hear me.
Okay, cool. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. I clicked all the things and then we danced, and it's always something, isn't it?
Well, hey, where would we be without our friends? Okay, so you know what's really wild, y'all? Apparently I'm louder stuff than
Mm.
you are. What's really wild is when I was dancing, watch my video and watch how my color changes when there's more of my blue in the screen.
Yeah, it gets really, yeah, isn't it weird? I
I was
noticed
like,
that when you had your arms up when you were
yeah, I was like
dancing.
dancing and I was just kind of like, what's going on in the screen? Hmm.
It's Zoom in there. Oh
Stuff
my
is
gosh, I'm
quiet.
still quiet? Oh, geez, my microphone is like maxed out on my end.
Man, whenever I want stuff to just shut up, she's super loud. And then now,
Okay, is it a little better? I should just make you quieter. Um, hmm.
I got that song like stuck and I'm like, do
Let me
do
double
do
check and make sure that
do
this is on
do
the
do do.
right. Yeah, it's on the right setting back there. Not
Is there any way you
better.
can get it, yeah, closer to your face?
I hate doing that.
Yeah, you definitely got louder there.
Wow, it hasn't changed. Okay. Um,
Speak into the microphone.
okay, how about that? Is that better? I did an update. That was what it was. I updated the software, and of course. Okay. Talk Jill. I'm going to mess with settings for a second.
Oh, wow. Hi,
What are we
everybody.
doing today? What are we looking at?
We are doing the second round of Ecology of Quilts because we couldn't get through it all. And Jan claims she can hear us fine. Everybody else, turn up your volume. Because you know, Steph, there is this weird alternate universe where people actually want to hear us talking.
I
Who
know.
would have thunk?
You know, all my life, people were like, "Would you shut up? Would you be quiet?" My mom be like, "Shh." Now people really want to hear me.
People
Um,
like to shush you. Yeah, yeah. So
okay, well, I'll do my
talk
best to
louder.
it. I'll do my best to talk loud.
Talk loud and enunciate. Um, all right, so let me get in here with a calendar because we have that thing. And one good reason is to remind people that we are stitching and glitching on Saturday. It's been a minute.
It has.
We have things to talk about. This this past weekend, we did win a virtual seminar for AQSG. There was lots of great content there, hours and hours that Stephanie is currently editing to become video recording. So if you weren't able to go and you still want to go, there is the opportunity to purchase recordings. Just an FYI. And there was some really great, great stuff. I actually have to go and like watch recordings myself because when you're on it and you're like working and doing the tech, it's hard to be able to always pay attention as well as you want to. So I'm gonna have some time that I gotta spend going back there. Otherwise, we're the 17th here. We're in the middle of the month.
How did that happen?
I I don't it's I don't want to talk about it. Um except for the fact that like the weather's improving and that's like really nice. So we have two more freebie nights. And then because our last night falls on the 31st, I think I'm gonna put out the first assignment. Do you have our book there, stuff? In our next book on the 31st. Um, and for winter seminar, our keynote was Sandra Sider, who did a fabulous lecture, which sadly could not be recorded for copyright reasons and things like that. So, but she is lovely and could pay us a visit. So, just want to remind you, our link to our affiliate link for that book is in the description. It's also on our social media pages. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
first
I thought I
assignment will
had
be
it
on the 31st.
handy, and I don't, so.
My book actually just arrived outside today.
Woo! Yay!
So, yes. So two more freebies and then we're doing that. And don't forget too that if you haven't been doing like our book club kind of stuff and reading along with us, this might be the one you really want to do because when we're done reading this book, shortly thereafter, an exhibit opens at the New England Quilt Museum that is loosely based on Sandra's book. So we're gonna have quilts to look
And
at. Just
also, if you're not in the New England area, there are still multiple quilt museums that are doing, um,
250.
centennial, bicentennial, commemorative type of exhibits for this year. I know Virginia Quilt Museum has a special one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I've talked to a number of people that have said there's a bunch of places that are doing exhibits.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, because it took us a while to get through stuff, like let us get a crack-a-lack in here.
Yes.
Um, because yeah, we got a lot to go through. We got the whole second half. It's like the same amount of quilts. And what we're looking at here is the American Folk Art Museum Ecology of Quilts exhibit that just recently closed. Stephanie and I were in town in November. If you
And
weren't
it
on the
feels like it
last,
was just yesterday. Like it
right,
literally feels like it was just yesterday.
if you weren't on the last stream, we were talking about it, wondering if this was still up because we're like, oh yeah, we were just there. It has to still be up. We were there in November. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, and it was lovely, guys. New York in November is just, it was beautiful. We couldn't have asked for a better day that day. Um, oh, are we still having people upset at your volume?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what could it possibly be.
You actually now sound a little low on my end too.
When my screen gets tiny, so does my sound. Interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah, just opening this, I feel like changed the sound. It's so bizarre. Sorry, you guys. And you know what? We didn't say hello to everybody, by the way. We've got lots of our dear friends are here. So
all right.
hi
I'm
to
gonna stop.
Robin and LJ and Marianne and Ivy.
I'm gonna stop sharing for the moment, Stephanie, just in
Okay.
case. I'm just gonna look and just see if there's anything on my end that I could improve as well, because you just never know. Hang tight with us, y'all, just for a sec.
And I'm looking at my audio again. Mhm.
This is why updates are just so much more hassle than they're worth sometimes. I'm blasting. Whew. And I don't even have the professional microphone that Stephanie has. That's the real disconnect there.
Well, that's why I'm starting to wonder if this I've had this microphone for a while. I'm kind of worried that it's being funky now. For some reason. I mean, it like on my end, I've got like I'm blasting. Like I'm turned all the way up.
Could it be worthwhile to like turn your microphone off and turn it back on because you did an
Maybe.
update? Hang, just hang tight, y'all. What's everybody doing? What you been up to? Like, I haven't really been up to much because Steph and I were working all weekend. It was kind of like, that whirlwind, like boom, 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 boom. And then right as soon as it was done, I took a nap and it messed up my sleep schedule. My mic is so far away from me, and it's just the laptop microphone. Snow blowing. I'm happy our snow's like gone. We could get more. It's New England. Um, but yeah, I kind of have the hankering now that it's starting to get a little nice out to go antiquing. I haven't, excuse me, I haven't done a lot of antiquing lately. 15 inches, Marianne? That should be illegal. Robin is having a heat wave, supposed to be close to 90. It's currently 82. Yes, that's very unpleasant. That's too much.
Okay. Was that any better?
You still sound kind of low, and I have my computer volume for you all the way up, and you should be blasting my eardrums out. Oh yeah, Robin, mid-June temps. No, you're still low. Did you just blast yourself out?
Yes. Gosh, this is so annoying, you guys. And it's absolutely positively got to be this update I did. And I thought to myself today, I don't know if I should do this update. Okay. Um Still low. I mean, yeah. It's got to be something
Am I
somewhere.
still blasting y'all, or do I sound at all human?
Yeah, still low. Ah. Ah. Um hmm.
Don't I sound good? You sound low. So, Steph, bring your face closer to your microphone.
I can't get any closer to this microphone.
That sounds good. That actually sounds pretty good.
Was that better, you guys? Did that make any difference? I'm going to be like one of those radio hosts that is like got their lips right on the microphone.
Yeah, see, it sounds better.
Of course. Of course. Okay.
Yes, it makes okay. So you're gonna have to try to do that for now because we got places to go here.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna get cracking
I
so that we're
fully
not.
intend to fix this for next time. I don't want this to happen again.
Hey, at least it's gonna provide comic relief, right? Who doesn't need a good laugh, huh? You do a little ASMR. Do that weird like stuff that people do on,
Oh, that's
social
so
media.
annoying. I hate that. I hate that so
Okay,
much.
starting again. So
Okay.
you're gonna make me laugh the whole time, aren't you? So, American Folk Art Museum, Ecology of Quilts. The first half is already up. If you haven't seen it, this was a fantastic exhibit. You can also, in that first half, you can see right in the beginning this all white quilt that Stephanie and I almost went to jail over. It's a real story. What are you gonna say?
Jill almost went to jail. I was not going to fight an elderly woman.
You are such a liar. You are such a liar. When I told you, you were like, "Where? Let me at him!" Like
I was horrified, but I was not going to go up to an elderly woman and tell her to stop touching quilts.
lies. I
I
wish
did
I
yell
had gotten it on camera.
I did yell at a man at QuiltCon though.
You okay? Anywho, so we were with some other friends while we were there, other like AQSG members, and I'm standing in front of this quilt with a couple of them. I actually, in this moment, don't actually remember who it was. Uh, and I'm like, why does this look so familiar to me? And then I realized this is on the cover of one of the Quilt Digest books.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was about to say. It's either like Quilt Digest or one of the engagement calendars.
Mm.
And you just said Quilt Digest, yeah. That's
Yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
it is.
it took me a while. I have to say that this was This was probably one of my favorites in we're gonna look at another one that was a favorite of mine, but this was one of my favorites because it's just like so amazing. Oh, LJ asked if the man touched a quilt.
Yes, the man touched a quilt. I know the person whose quilt it was. I didn't yell at him just because of that. I yelled at him because, like, how dare you touch a quilt, you foolish person. So, um, hey, Jen. So I wanted to mention about this quilt. Zania Cord, who is a AQSG member, she's a past president, dealer, lecturer. She has studied quilts that have the urn
Mm-hmm.
with the vines.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
She did a lecture at something I excuse me, something I attended, where she shows like a dozen quilts with that same, and some of them it's only like at the bottom of the quilt. It's not all the way
mm-hmm.
around, but
Yep. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I
this
saw
is
her make a post somewhere not too long ago on social media about that.
yeah, yeah.
She was like commenting on someone's quilt or looking for, I forget exactly, but yes, it was about that.
Hmm.
I've never seen her do any talking about that. That would be a very interesting topic.
Yeah, it was I'm pretty sure it was the retreat in Temecula. I don't think it was Arizona Quilt Study. I think she did something different for Arizona Quilt Study.
Yes, if I recall, I think that might have been because you had told me about that.
Yeah.
So this
Not
is
much to say
floral.
about this quilt.
Yeah, floral applique quilt, United States, 1856 cotton, and gift of the estate of Joanna Rose. And Joanna Rose is the estate that had a red and white exhibition, right? Yeah.
Yes, Joanna
Um,
Rose had over 600 red and white quilts.
and a lot of them are living at IQM now, right?
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's
In fact, I think IQM might have gotten all of them.
no, they're not all of them.
They didn't get all. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I thought they
Most, I think most of them. Oh my goodness.
This is a really beautiful quilt.
I
I mean,
want just this part right here to be like a pillow. Like it's just has anyone or does anyone know of reproduction that anyone's done like of this quote? Also, I find it like adorable that like just these two right here were like fugitive.
right?
But, like
Yeah, they look intentional. You know.
right, but like they were like they were so perfectly planned that it fits now. Like it's just whatever color it
Mm-hmm.
was. Like assuming it was green, but like yeah, this just I don't know, I just love it.
And what is the date there? 18? Is it 1856?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
And those
look at
look
that. I
like
mean, look at that
tiny
quilting. The quilting.
oh yeah, the quilting's
And there's like
bananas.
tiny little feathers around the initials, and that's very small right there in that center.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the this is one of those quilts where you've seen when I've posted exhibits from New England Quilt Museum, there's one wall in there that's glass. So you could,
Hmm.
if you wanted to, you could see the front and back of a quilt if it was important to see the front and the back. And this is a quilt I would have really wanted to see from the front and the back with the right kind of light on it to really showcase. I don't even know what color the back is. Does, do we happen to be able to tell? Oh, the binding's white too.
My guess is it's white. That's what I would guess.
Yeah. Oh, look at those berries
Oh yeah, I forgot. The grapes are three-dimensional.
stuffed. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so delightful. There's just,
It's a beauty, and it's in such good condition. It's a
look at
little
this.
fanciful, like
Yeah, look at
yeah.
this little nugget right here. There's just sometimes there's quilts that you see that like make your heart sing and then like you don't have anything to say. Like this is one of those quilts
Right?
where I'm like,
Yeah.
ah, squee! Like
Yeah, I feel that way. This is just a lovely quilt.
yeah, like I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a good day for a little squee. I also like the way that this feather quilting happens around. This looks like this gives me weeping willow vibes.
Hmm. Yeah.
The way that
Okay.
this sits. Yeah. Um, and what's interesting, and I don't have anything to back this up, I'm just bringing in other knowledge here. But weeping willow type stuff and Ernie type stuff is common on Victorian headstones.
Right. Yep.
So, um, I'm wondering, like, is that kind of imagery informing this at all? So,
I mean, I think that's certainly always a possibility, but excuse me. Sorry, I have to keep clear my throat, and I don't want to do that in everybody's ear. um, the very fact that the imagery of the urn with the very low, it's an urn and floral in a border, so it's stretched out flat like that. Um, I think it's more about that imagery than it is about the possibility that it's a monument.
oh, I'm not trying to say that it's any kind of monument. I'm just saying that that kind of if that kind of imagery is what's kind of being used around at the time.
Yeah, so Jen asked a good question. Did Zania say where the style of quilt is from the Midwest? I don't remember that there was necessarily, and I'd have to go back and look at my notes or ask somebody that was there, but I don't remember that there was a specific region. Um, and I also know a couple of people more local to me that have a couple of quilts that they're working on, that studying, that are have something similar going on with them. So I don't know that there's really necessarily like a region that I've heard. I'm sure that they've identified something as they've been looking at these quilts, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, this one was so,
Gorgeous.
ugh. Where, okay, that was interesting.
What happened?
Something just like knocked things off my desk and I was not anywhere near them.
So either Jill has a ghost or a rat.
Well, there's clearly not a rat on my desk. Like
Okay,
I
so
would
it's a
see, I
ghost.
think I would see that.
It's a ghost.
Um, I mean, this house is 1880s, you know. Where did my arrow go? Okay. Like, hello, arrow. Where art thou?
There's a ghost in the machine, I think. You know?
Hold on. Where, no, really, where did my,
Yeah, there should be an arrow there. Can you go
yeah, where,
backwards? Can you go back the other way? Is that arrow there?
interesting.
Are you at the
Okay,
end?
hold on. What is going on with my pictures? Hold on one second here. That was weird. I guess we're just gonna have like all kinds of weirdness today.
And I haven't even been drinking.
I kind of wish I'd been drinking. No, that was the beginning. Like my pictures did not get jumbled. Okay, that's so weird. All right, let's try that again. Okay, that. Okay, I have no idea what happened. Okay, let me open that back up. Okay, we're just cursed today. Jeez. Okay, here we are. We're looking good now,
Yep. Oh, I
and there's
forgot
an
about
arrow.
this one. Yeah,
This,
I
oh
forgot
my
about this one.
God.
This
Okay,
is a pretty amazing quilt too.
so you know what's interesting is a friend of ours had seen this quilt online when they were advertising their show, and she messaged me and asked me, she was like, "Hey, didn't this quilt belong to so and so a person, whatever, and didn't I see it at such and such a place?" And at first I'm like, "Oh yeah, I think you're right." And then I went back into my photos because I had photos of said quilt she thought this was, and went back and looked and I went, "No,
It's
that one's
similar but
different."
different.
Yes, but very similar, like eerily similar.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I did tell you about this at the time, but given that this was like
Months
before
ago.
November, I'm sure you've just forgotten.
Mm.
Um, So it was very interesting that we were like, wow. And I'll give without giving all of that away just because those people I'm sure probably don't want to be talked about. What was so interesting is this center. There was another quilt we'd been looking at that had this moon kind of cycle with like
Hmm.
stars and stuff going on. That's so um striking and different. I'm not necessarily going to say abnormal, but just different that you would recognize that very
Right. Yeah.
quickly and think that potentially things could be the same. So the other
Right.
quote,
Yeah.
like in mention, like has this like kind of near identical center. Which were they made by the same person, near the same person? Was it a pattern somewhere? Was it I like
Yeah. Well, I mean, immediately I begs the question because I think this quilt is old enough that it begs the question: are they made by the same person or people that knew each other? Right.
yeah. So here you go.
So this was attributed to a member of the Sinclair family. Um, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden quilt, possibly Vermont, mid 19th century cotton. While many floral quilts are more emblematically subtle, this pictorial example proclaims its symbolic significance with a series of scenes. That's a lot of S's. With a series of scenes from the Garden of Eden. Eve encountering the serpent and picking an apple from the tree of knowledge, her sharing the fruit with Adam, and the couple's expulsion from the garden. As the biblical setting for the creation of the first man and woman, Eden's earthly paradise and the stories associated with it would have been considered especially appropriate themes for a marriage quilt.
So I'm just gonna go back
This
to the
seems
beginning
kind of
here.
odd to me, though, because, I guess from the perspective of like what date was this? Mid 19th century, so we'll just say 1850. I guess in 1850, women were considered like, you know, the original sin and all that stuff, you know?
So I've gone back to the beginning here because Marianne said, am I seeing the trees in more than one season by looking at the leaves? And yeah, there's definitely like
Uh,
different things happening here. And I'm wondering
hmm.
like they're definitely not all the same, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're not all the same. The one down there that is the correct orientation for us to see the couple, as there's not really a tree there, it's flowers.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't know. There's got to be, well, so on the left, as we're looking at it, is the snake and Eve, and that's
Hmm.
obviously an apple tree. Um, Adam and Eve, I guess where she is, or their expulsion, or I can't tell. Directly opposite. Yeah, that I can't tell which is which. Um,
Hmm.
I have to. I do have the detail pictures. So
Hmm. Oh yeah, and these berries were stuffed too.
yes, they were stuffed as well. That's why I took that
Mhm.
odd angle so you could kind of get the. And
And the
also I think
bird.
some of the fruit on the tree also,
Yeah, and
or
the
the
bird.
leaves or fruits. Yeah, they're lightly stuffed.
This is an interesting quilting motif right here.
Yeah, yeah. That
That like
it was not one
semi
that I.
pineapple-y.
Yeah, it was not one that like I remember having seen before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like these are so honkin' stuffed. They look like literal like kind of like pebble like rocks put on there. Like
Yeah, yeah.
they were not messing around with that stuffing.
Okay, so this is the picture that yeah, we were seeing the orientation. So she's giving him the apple. So the next one must be like the expulsion, I guess, or the marriage. I'm not sure.
Faces are hard.
Yeah, they're an odd looking pair. They're definitely strange looking people, but at least
Um,
she's wearing a dress. He appears to be, I don't know, is he wearing anything at all? I can't really tell.
yeah, and what an interesting dress. Like She kind of gives me vibes here of like an Italian nonna, like she's going home to cook all kinds of pasta and sauce and stuff for the whole village. And then here she's much different with a much longer dress.
Right, yeah,
The
and the
snake
snake.
is the size of her body. So this
The
is
snake is
this is
terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
that snake is massive.
But zoom in there,
Um,
there's a little nest in the tree.
this right here, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, wow. The attention to detail, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't even begin to like consider having this kind of like vision, like planning this out. I'm so glad that there are people in the world that are so much more talented than I am in this kind of stuff, so that I get to enjoy it. Like, look at all this quilting.
I know. The quilting on this one is just as amazing as the last quilt. Very different, but also very, very striking.
Mm, yeah, man. That's bananas.
Yeah, so very pretty. And
Mhm.
I'm kind of wondering, and I kind of feel like I could go both ways on it, but like the fact that the leaves are blue, I mean, they're clearly cut from chintz.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, is this a chintz that has perhaps lost its yellow and it really should be green? Or is this one of those blue and like blue and
Hmm.
tan and whatever chintz is? I could go either way on that.
I I don't know. I wonder if anyone has ventured into that at all. Like, has anyone else kind of wondered that aloud? The blue looks really fitting,
Yeah, and
so it's not
it
something I
seems,
immediately jumped to, but like
yeah,
now that you're saying it, I'm like,
it does seem like consistent. It's like they
mhm,
used a particular chintz fabric and it is consistent across the quilt. So, if it was originally green leaves, then they've clearly consistently lost their yellow. But
mhm,
yeah, I've kind of wondered like what their if that was a design choice to use a blue chintz.
mhm. Man, the quilting is just like, not to mention like this quilt in and of itself is like pristine looking.
Hmm.
Like, man.
Yeah, and look at all of those little like sort of little stars, and they're quilted in. They're
Mhm,
not, they're kind of scattered like
mhm,
actual stars would be. This is just this one more so than the last one is so fanciful. Like this is clearly like a very creative person who had a vision, and
mhm,
I think they did a very good job executing on it. And
mhm.
kudos to whoever owned it and kept it safe and in such good condition.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish it had been me.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, this is definitely one of I would say pretty much all of the quilts in this exhibit I could have snatched right off the wall and run away with. All of them. I loved all of them for different
Yeah, I
reasons.
was gonna say, be careful or we're gonna get a notice that we're not allowed back.
You are a danger to the
Yeah,
quilts. Now this one. This is my favorite one to talk about.
I'm gonna let you talk about it then.
So, I mean, we can go ahead and read the placard, but the
Mhm,
placard is thoroughly 100% without a doubt wrong. So, this is a Philadelphia pavement quilt. Go back to it so you can really get the gist of what this is. Um, when I first see this pattern, this particular pattern, it always reminds me of like Granny Square crocheted afghans, which
mhm.
I have one that my I think my grandma
Wait,
made.
wait, wait.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what these always remind me of because they're made out of little tiny like 1 inch blocks, and they are circular. They're put together in strips that are go around, 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 just like a granny square would. And it's, yeah, like I said, it's called Philadelphia pavement. Now, all of the fabrics in this quilt are very identifiable. There
Mhm,
is a centennial green in here. There are fabrics, there's some neons in here. These fabrics are definitely like 1870s to 1890s
Mm-hmm.
for certain. And I feel like I know enough now, like I was able to just immediately notice that. And then the other people we were with, yes, absolutely, LJ. They're basically squares. Like Trip Around the World is usually like starts with a longer center, and ends up being like, elongated, but same thing. You're just starting with one square in the center versus like a strip of them. Um, but we were with people that know way more than we do, and they confirmed like there is absolutely no way the rest of the information on this placard is right. So this quilt would have been made in the latter part of the 19th century. It is called Philadelphia Pavement, and it is full of beautiful late 19th century fabrics. Now let's look at the placard. And this is saying probably Lancaster County. Yeah, I concur, because that's close to Philadelphia. But what is this they say? 1930? What? Okay, well, maybe they know something we don't know. 1930. Perhaps this person had some very old fabrics and they wanted to make a quilt. Made during the financially precarious years of the Great Depression, this quilt paradoxically embodies both the frugality of the time period and the abundance of choice offered by printed fabric manufacturers. A product of careful planning, it is made up of postage stamp size blocks that resolve into a series of large squares when viewed from afar. Its construction reflects the practice of rationing necessitated by the economic downturn, but its uniformity and precision suggests that the pattern and fabrics were likely purchased together as a quilt kit, made popular and widely available during the 1930s. No, 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 no. Unless this is something wildly unusual that none of the people we know who have devoted many decades to quilt study were simply not aware of, this is all wrong. This quilt, I mean, it could have been made in the 30s with fabrics from the end of the 19th century. That's always possible. But this was absolutely not a kit quilt. Like, and in the event that it was something like, because there were instances certainly during the Victorian period where fabric manufacturers would sell like kind of like the floor sweepings, like the scraps. They would sell these scrap bags and these kind of like pre-cut things. That too is, very, very late 19th century, possibly. But like everything that they put together here about it's possibly a kit quilt, it's made during the 30s. They're tiny little postage stamp sizes because of frugality. All that is all wrong. And our question was really kind of collectively as a group. The American Folk Art Museum is they have a huge quilt collection, but they are not just a quilt repository. They have other folk art,
Mm-hmm.
and all that we can guess is perhaps whoever owned this, the people that owned this, perhaps had some incorrect information about it, shared that with the museum, and that's just what ended up in the curatorial record, and nobody questioned it when they printed this out.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, it's just wrong. Like in a lot of ways, it's very, very wrong.
Well, it wasn't also like one of the possibilities we thought of is that they put this on the wrong quilt, like that there could
Well,
like.
yes, but there's too much in here that is describing this quilt. It is a Philadelphia pavement quilt. They are
Mhm.
postage sized, they say blocks. I mean, it's just a single, little postage stamp little square. Like it's a 1 inch square. Um, but all the stuff about the 30s and the kit is a problem. Um, right, yes. Yes, Robin. And the thing is, there are many of them out in the world. They were made in the 1800s, and they were not kits. And when Jill show the detail, because when you look at the detail, there would have to be an absurd amount of different fabrics in this kit. I would love this kit if this were a kit, because my God,
Mhm.
the variety of fabrics that would have had to have been in this kit. This
Well, and also
exquisite kit.
there's nothing about this quilt that screams 1930s frugality.
Nope.
Like there's
Mm-mm.
way too much control of like the same fabrics.
1930s frugality, we would typically see things where, they didn't have enough red. So there's part of the red and then part of it is like orange, like there, it was very scrappy. This is not a scrappy quilt. This
Mm-hmm.
is a quilt that uses a lot of fabric that has been cut very tiny, and they've clearly had enough of every single fabric to make the designs they made, because you see
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like just an alternation. Every round alternates between two different fabrics, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fabric in this quilt. So it just surprised me because I feel like the folk art museum, they I mean, like I said, they're not a quilt, necessarily a quilt place, but they know quilts. They hang a lot of quilts in their shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, like, it was just a big question mark to me, like how did they get this placard? Like, how did this happen? So
Yeah, no.
it's a very cool quilt.
Yeah, there's some
Um
like really great fabrics in here. I like looking
yeah.
at this now, I'm kind of like I normally am not one of the people that get into doing a lot of like reproductions of antique quilts, but now I'm kind of like
Yeah.
I like this, and I like to sew tiny stuff. I just don't like it when it gets big.
Yeah, these are tiny.
Yeah.
The blocks are big. The individual squares are very tiny. And so you're kind of looking at, there's like a border in between, sort of, I guess.
Yeah, like a sachet
Um
almost.
but you could also call any of that part of either block.
Sure.
But if you look at the one particular, there's a particular fabric that appears in a lot of them. It's like a white with like a blue flower, I think. They've
This
fussy cut those. Or
white with a blue
yeah,
flower.
zoom in. Like what you were just touching is what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's like a
Is
ball
it?
or
Is
something.
it? I don't know. I just thought maybe it was a
Yeah,
flower.
because you can see kind of like this line I'm going through here.
Yes, and I don't
It's a
think they like.
conversation print.
Yeah, it's something that they've kind of sort of fussy cut. I mean, they're not like
Mhm.
perfect, but this says to me 1880s or 1890s. That's what this says to me.
I could even go like to
Hmm.
1920-ish because like the conversation prints, but
Right.
there's nothing about this says 30s to me.
I think that strip there, right there in the middle, that's red. I think that is the Centennial Green. I think.
Yep. Yep, that's a Centennial Green.
Hmm.
LJ said tidy squares make for a manageable block jill. They do. But I mean when it gets big and you put the whole quilt together, because this is still about bed dish size
Yeah,
on
this
the
is a
wall.
bed size quilt. This is a huge quilt.
So yeah, once you have to put like all the rows together, then I'm like, ew. Like when you have to like manhandle it through your machine and like I'm just like, ew. Can you imagine how seam heavy this thing is? Like for the one thing we can't tell for sure really, I guess, is it stitched by hand or a machine, but like this would be so seam heavy. And I say that as someone who has sewn a really huge, very seam heavy quilt and that thing, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely weigh a ton. And I don't remember. It's not tied. Is it stitched in the ditch, or was it?
I don't think it's anything. I think it's
It's
just
not quilted at all.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
it's
I don't think it's called
quite
yeah, it's not quilted at all.
it's quite possibly just like a
They might have a
comforter
few
or a,
tacking stitches here and there,
yeah,
which we can't really tell without seeing the
because
back.
it definitely has a binding for
Sure.
sure, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a few tacking stitches. Um, yeah. Oh, you got another one here.
Oh yeah, I took
Love,
lots of, because I was
I
like, look
love
at
that
these fabrics.
blueprint.
None of these fabrics are from the 20th century. There are definitely fabrics in here that, in fact, I think there's one in here. I actually have some of it, a little swatch of it. And that blue and black right there in the center, there's the red and green alternating, and then there's the, like, it's like a gold color and like a blue and black. That's a neon print. So that would be
Hmm.
1890s.
Yeah.
It's crazy. it was just so odd. Like, I mean, I've seen things where I'm kind of like, huh, based on what I've learned, like, maybe that date's not quite right, or, identifying something as a kit quilt when it really would not have been a kit quilt. But this, like, and I also get the possibility of like, oh, maybe this was just attached to the wrong quilt. But the thing is, the aspects of the description are correct. It is a Philadelphia pavement quilt. It is made out of small postage stamp size pieces of fabric. It's just not from the 30s, and it is absolutely not from a kit quilt. It's not a kit, so
Mm-hmm.
just very weird.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the fabrics are mwah.
I know they're really nice. Oh, there's the Greek key fabric. I think that's
No, it's the geek fabric.
the geek key fabric. That I can't remember what there's some specific thing about that too that I don't remember the details, but
Yes,
yeah,
I'm with you. I remember that there are
it's
details.
a but I mean it's a very recognized that the Greek key blue is very it's recognizable. It's like a fabric that appeared a lot.
Yeah, now I'm sitting here going like, oh, this would be so cool as a repro.
Oh my
Ugh.
god.
Moving on. This one's beautiful. The quilting
Yeah.
is just
Hmm.
perfection. And man, we really like are bringing in all different kinds here, huh? 'Cause we just have like some crosshatch, then we have
Hmm.
like some vines and berries, then we have like a circular like feather star, and then like more feathery, viney looking type things
Hmm.
here. They were
Yeah,
definitely like more is more.
this reminds me of many of the quilts that were in Yannick and Smucker's pattern and is it pattern and paradox? The Amish quilts and they were Midwestern, primarily Midwestern Amish quilts.
Mm-hmm.
But the quilting in this reminds me so much of many of those quilts.
Mm-hmm. True story. So we've got Diamond in the Square quilt, probably Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, 1910 to 1930, wool. Amish quilts speak to the religious community's sense of moral order. The best known patterns, such as this diamond in the square design, feature a strict geometry that adheres to Amish beliefs, equating highly ornamented design with sinfulness and pride. The Amish's symbolic separation from the outside world belies entanglements with the products of industrial culture. Amish women, like many American women, began quilting in the late 19th century following the increased availability and affordability of fabrics. Communities in Pennsylvania, where this quilt was likely made, were visited by traveling salesmen and had access to mail order catalogs offering a wide variety of fabrics. While this quilter made use of wool, by the 1940s, some Amish makers were embracing rayon and other synthetics. Oh, we're already
I guess
jumping.
I guess I didn't take any details.
That's okay. I mean, we don't always, we
ah,
don't, can't always take details
yes.
of
You've
everything.
seen one Amish quilt, you've seen them all. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, we don't. I was say
Yeah,
not
this
everything
was.
has to have a super detail. Besides, you have to see this one kind of far away to appreciate all the quilting.
Hmm. Yeah, this one photographed well. I have to
Hmm.
say, it's just the lighting on it was really good.
I really
Um,
like this like maple leafy looking thing up
hmm.
here and in here. Boom, boom, ba This is just your garden variety, scrappy loveliness.
Yeah, scrappy stars. I
Hmm.
don't remember any details about this one, so let me see.
It's what's interesting too, and one reason why I like looking at this stuff after we've been to an exhibit is they look different sometimes. You ever
Yes.
notice that?
Hmm. And I'm always struck by how different a quilt will look, close up and from a distance. And looking at it with your eyeballs and then hold your camera up to take a picture, and all of a sudden the quilt looks different. I had that experience at QuiltCon, and I'm like,
Okay, but in my brain, you were going with look at it with your eyeballs and then grab your friend and look at it with their eyeballs. Like
no, I am referring to the camera, the phone.
yeah, I'm gonna
There's
next time we're at a show, I'm just be like, Stephanie, come over here. Let me use your eyeballs.
Knock it off.
But so one thing that I'm already noticing, because someone had asked me once about these streams and had asked if we ever find it boring to look at an exhibit we've already been to. And I was like,
No,
no. And it
no,
really
not at all.
depends. So like when I'm taking pictures at like the New England Quilt Museum for us to look at, I try to disengage from the exhibit and just go
Yeah.
and take the photos and then we discover together. Something like
Hmm.
this, we were here for a couple hours and we're really
Hmm.
looking at stuff and talking about stuff and whatever. I mean, it's almost like a brand new exhibit at this point because it was like a year ago. Um, but like I'm noticing
Yeah.
like, is this a Centennial Green in here? I don't remember this looking so purple, like
Yeah. I mean, this is the 1890s. This is one of the ones with the itty bitty little placard that doesn't have anything to say much.
yeah, right, Jen? Jen loves to revisit exhibits.
Yeah. And the thing is, the thing about quilts, and I realize I'm preaching to the choir to you guys, but anybody who is not like maybe is new to looking at quilts or has just never looked at quilts like this before, um, the quilts are so detailed usually that you can look at them multiple times over and over and still see something new, a stitch pattern, a particular fabric, like there's just, I feel like there's always something, that you're discovering that's new. And I mean, you and I
Mhm.
have the same experience with quilts we own. Like I take a quilt to a quilt study and spread it out, and I'm like, it's like I've never seen this quilt before,
Mhm.
because it'll look
Mhm.
different. So, yeah.
Yep. Well, this one is Lemoyne Star, possibly Ohio, 1890. Wow, really spilled their guts here. Yeah, see, like from afar, I realize this isn't Centennial, but from afar, it looked like it could have been.
This
This from
one's fun because
afar,
this is truly scrappy. This is
yeah.
truly a scrappy quilt.
But notice, like from afar, this looked far more vibrant.
Mhm.
But it really goes to show you that like you said before, and also like this quilting, I think is just really cool. I love when they do
Mhm.
this kind of a like a scallopy and it looks kind of
Mhm.
like feathers or like it kind of reminds me of like pine cones, the way like the parts of a
Well,
pine cone ball.
I mean, if you turn it the other way, it's a clamshell.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like it
Yeah.
also kind of reminds me of
Mhm.
or even like bird feathers, like it kind of looks like
Yeah.
all different
Yeah.
kinds
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
things.
Fish scales. Yeah.
But this goes to show you that it is really worthwhile to take a photo of quilts in different lighting, in different
Mhm.
angles, back up from them. Get like I also didn't notice this absolutely darling print on black. Oh my God.
What is it?
It's like a
Oh.
little, it looks like a skeleton flower, to be honest with you. Kind of like that, you know that like in kids' cartoons, like that like fishbone, like with like its X's
Yes.
in its eyes. Like
Or if anything gets hit by lightning in a cartoon, it has a skeleton in the side inside of it.
yeah, so Marianne, in talking about this quilting,
Mhm.
she said dragon scales, like
Dragon
totally.
scales. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Man. Oh, I recognize this quilt because I think it
Mhm.
might have hung in the New England Quilt Museum before.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. You want to read this one?
Sure. Um so this quilt was made by, and oh gosh, the Japanese names I'm sure I'm gonna mess up, but Tomi Nagano, I think, who is still a living artist, born in 1950, and the quilt is called a Jiro Manyo, and they're from Shari Hokkaido, Hokkaido, I think it's Hokkaido, Japan, and Dedham, Massachusetts,
Which
which is
is
I'm
which
assuming.
is which is next to Natick.
Oh yes, in 1995, made in 95. And I don't know. I'm not sure if Tomi is a man or a woman. It's
Woman.
okay. Tomi's I see a her in here. So yes, it's a she. So it sounds like she's from Japan and she currently lives in Massachusetts. And so this says contemporary textile artist Tomi Nagano upcycles antique kimono and other clothing to create quilts that preserve histories of Japanese design and heritage. Her approach to making quilts is a contribution of her mother's practice. I'm sorry, a continuation of her mother's practice, transforming kimonos passed down from previous generations to create material records of family and tradition. I love that. Nagano's process also draws inspiration from boro textiles, clothing and bedding that has repeatedly undergone mending due to economic necessity. Nagano's quilts, in contrast, are carefully executed compositions, meticulously constructed with attention to pattern, material, texture, color, and history. The vintage fabrics Nagano chose for Ajiro Manyo reflect the prevalence of indigo in Japanese textile production. Her quilt's design produces a traditional herringbone pattern used by basket weavers and known as ajiro. So, what I can tell you about this quilt is beautiful. Standing in front of this quilt, me and this other lady who was not part of our group tried to figure out, like, how did these pieces come together? How? And at first I was like, oh, it's got to be like a split rail fence kind of. And then I started looking at it and I'm like, but I could not quite get it. And I mean, like, it's got to be lots of Y seams, right? But the way that this is constructed, it's still challenging for me to figure it out.
Yeah, she uses a lot of oop, sorry. Um, she uses a lot of like these rectangles in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of her quilts. There was an exhibit, like I think of a number of her quilts. I was actually there the day she came to pick them up. And she let the ladies at the museum pick one to keep. And
Oh,
yeah,
so
they
there's
picked
one
a
in the
really
collection.
Mhm.
That's
At,
very
le at
cool.
least one. I don't know if there's even
Mm-hmm.
more than one, but yeah, I was there when they picked it. Um I had no say in the picking, but I was there. Um and yeah, this there's also a lot of blue
Mm-hmm.
in
Well,
her
the
stuff,
indigo.
which of course
Yeah.
means I'm going to gravitate to it.
Yeah.
Um
So LJ
and
says, I would sew it as a brick walk with plaids and stripes. Yeah, that's the thing. It does. It looks like one of those, like, and the town I live in has the brick sidewalks are like this. And it's like
mhm,
they're 90-degree angles, but then the way that the other pieces like lock in there, it's like how, because it's like she would have to sew these together and then Y seam them into the previous, like, it is truly looks like basket weaving. So,
mm.
I would love to talk to her and know more about like what her process is like.
Well, you know who would potentially know the answer other than obviously the artist would be Pam Weeks,
Yes.
having talked to the artist. So
Mm-hmm.
if I run into her tomorrow, I'll ask her.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is just really lovely, and I think that just her design, like backing away from it, and not focusing on any one piece of fabric, you just see like it's very heavily indigo and stripes, but there are these little pops of these other colors in there. There's like you see this
hmm
kind of orangey red, and then there's this gold color, and it's just so pleasing to look at. It's just so
hmm
pretty.
Jen said we decided it was using a ton of Y seams. And then LJ said the idea is to keep brick walking with partial seams.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
That's what I thought. It's like yeah. So you're like putting those two pieces in there and you kind of have to like Y seam them in, but you're leaving parts like unstitched until you get more in there. And
Mm,
oh my gosh, it sounds like I'm sure probably once you get going on that technique, and you
hmm
kind of perfect it and you get good at it, it's maybe becomes second nature. But I just keep thinking like I would have something that would go like this because I'm trying to put stuff in and it won't lay flat and it's
Yep. I love a weird quilt.
yep. And last week somebody said something about one of the quilts we looked at last week and about quilts laying flat and I was like, "Oh, just you wait." Cuz there were some of these just wild ones that um yeah, they're not even square. They
hmm
just
Yeah, this block is so cool. And
I like
actually
the
this
Pentagon
block
one.
down here is really cool too.
I like the Pentagon one. That's
This one?
mm-hmm.
Hmm. This block down here kind of looks like a wolf face to me.
Ah, yes, I can see that. Like a
Hmm.
cartoony sort of dog or something. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
This to me, and I don't remember the details about this quilt, but just looking at it, like this is true, like scrap, true, 100% scrap sustenance type of quilting, like, and just not very being very concerned about the ultimate ending because you need a quilt, you got to keep warm. Like that's what this type of quilt strikes me as.
Hmm.
But so wild and cool looking, in
Hmm.
all of its wonkiness.
Hmm. So this is log cabin variation, I'll say, quilt. Possibly Georgia, 1900. Cotton, linen, wool synthetics. And this quilt's improvisational use of tiny scraps suggests the creative possibilities generated by constraint. The maker of this quilt, possibly African American, offers several iterations on the basic principles of the log cabin pattern. Some medallions protrude and recede based on the interplay of changing strip widths and fabrics. Others can deconstruct the form's strict geometry altogether, featuring strips that clash and whirl around one another, evoking half-finished forms like a pinwheel or an hourglass. Do you know if you got any details of this one?
I would like to mention that if this quilt was truly made in 1900, the only type of synthetic would have been rayon.
Hmm.
We did not have like polyester, nylon, all of those things were later in the 20th century. So this is another one where it irritates me a little bit when they're like
Well, I mean,
synthetic.
it's got a circa, so we could be going a little further ahead.
I feel like you'd have to go little, yeah, to be, well, I'm just being picky. I'm just being nitpicky about things now. But yeah, I just love this one so much too. It's,
Hmm.
and most of these fabrics, I mean, just what you're zooming on here, that's definitely turn of the century type of like dress fabrics. And
Yeah, and then
um,
we've also got these little like embellishments here.
zoom in on that. I don't remember that. Oh, yeah. They're almost like little,
Little flowers.
yeah, huh. I
Yeah.
wonder. I wonder if that's contemporary to the quilt, if those might have been added later. Um,
And could those be the synthetics they're referring to?
Maybe, and what that reminds me of, I was trying to think, this past weekend at when our virtual seminar, our friend Vanessa actually is working on studying Hispanic quilts, and one of the quilts, I think it was made by a family friend and not a direct family member, but the person who inherited it, unfortunately, I guess in storage or something, it ended up having like it got moth holes in it.
Hmm.
And in order to save it, she had used this newer fabric, which looked very cool on the quilt. And what she did was she cut out flowers and put them over the moth holes. But she didn't sew. So she glued them on with Elmer's glue. And I was like, oh my God. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Elmer's glue technically can wash out. So that's not really a bad, thing to do. I mean, as horrified as we are of like gluing something together, like Elmer's glue is better than like hot glue, right? Or, because Elmer's glue is
Or
reversible.
like super glue.
Right? Elmer's glue is reversible. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, for some reason that just strikes me as like maybe this quilt had some holes, and maybe somebody later on added these. They almost, it looks like either something cut out of a thicker fabric or like literally like synthetic flower, silk flowers, synthetic flowers.
Hmm.
I can't quite tell. This is one of those ones where I would have wanted to like take the quilt down and like touch it and look at it, and why can't we
You
get
just
to
want
do
to like
that?
run your hand along the side of it, like.
No, I would never touch a quilt in that manner. But the fact that I am a scholar of quilts and I study them, I would like to just be able to walk into a museum and say, hey, I am not your average rube off the street. Can we take this down so I can look at it? Here's my card. Here's my
Hmm.
badge. Quilt
Hmm.
inspector. There I go, being all like special. Gosh, but what a fun quilt, right? You know, like,
Yeah. It's like these quilts, they're kind of like I spies
mm-hmm.
for period fabric.
Yeah, and
It's
there's
like, look at
definitely
how
stuff I'm.
teeny this little
Mm-hmm.
piece is right here.
Yeah, or that little strip at the sort of there at the bottom, the that itty bitty little strip. Um,
Which one, Stephanie? There's a bunch.
well, I don't know if my this right here. I don't know if that shows up for you. It'll show up for the
I
on the
can't see
recording,
it
but
now.
yeah, it's this block down here at the bottom. That's like bottom left and bottom right. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I can,
where you're
yeah,
where it just looks.
I can see you in my phone.
Yeah, this little strip here.
Get your cursor off my stuff.
Hush.
Keep your cursor to yourself. Like, or like, look at this little tiny.
Or the brown one above it. That's just kind of curves.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very resourceful person that made this, and even though it's
Mhm.
kind of all wonky on the bottom, it would have worked on a bed. It would have covered a bed well
Mhm.
enough.
Mhm. Yeah. This one's cool. So this one,
Mhm.
this reminds me of that thing where you make those different blocks out of wood and it sits in the wood in the cardboard box. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh, like it's like a puzzle type thing.
Right, but it's all like finished
hmm
wood.
Right.
And
Yes, I
like
know.
the colors, the varying colors of this like tan here look like that wood to me. Somebody
Well,
agree
this
with me
one.
in the comments because Stephanie's acting like she has no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I do know what you're talking about, and
LJ,
yes,
love, where are you? Like, agree with me here. Jen, who's got my back?
I noticed LJ did mention that the brick walking is fairly straightforward. Ma'am, speak for yourself. Sometimes the most simple things are not straightforward for me because I was born blonde.
Jen, you're gonna
Um,
support me by laughing at me? Yeah, see,
I'm teasing.
Robin knows exactly what I'm talking. Robin's always got my back. Jen.
Yes, she says a tangram puzzle. Yes, and that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
There's a
whatever,
child's
Stephanie.
toy. There's a child's toy that was probably from the 20s or 30s. I have two of them, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sure.
Okay, this one is a surprise. This is a bit of a surprise. This is a G's Ben quilt.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't, and we looked at, I showed the G's Bend exhibit from QuiltCon. I showed that on my stream. And there were a number of quilts in there that just, when you see so many pictures of G's Bend and G's Bend quilters, and they're out there in the public consciousness, even though it's really only been recently that that they've really gotten the notoriety and the support that they deserve. Um, but quilts like this that are they're not scrappy. They're you know they made those quilts too. So
Mhm.
that's what I was really excited to see this. I was like, oh my gosh, this is from Boykin. This is a G's Men quilt. So this is Melissa Petaway. Melissa Petway. I always want to put an A in there, an extra A in there. Her years where she was born in 1914 and passed away in 97. This is called Pinwheel Variation Quilt from G's Bend, Boykin, Alabama, circa 1960, polyester and cotton. Um, and this is interesting. It was a gift of David Gordon in memory of Margaret McCormick Gordon, who would have been Maggie McCormick Gordon, who wrote a number of quilt books.
Hmm.
Um, so Melissa Petway was part of the small Alabama farming community of Boykin, known as G's Bend. The women of G's Bend, now well known for their expressive approach to quilting, blend individual design ideas and established patterns with an inclusive approach to fabrics. In her pinwheel variation quilt, Petway made use of both woven and knit textiles. Color variations suggest that she may not have had access to enough fabric in the same shade of yellow, leading her to salvage scraps. perhaps from an athletic garment, to complete her dynamic composition. These breathable fabrics recall their previous lives as part of a family or community member's wardrobe, finding new purpose as a protective covering during Alabama's winter months. And you know what I think is really interesting about this one, is there, and I don't know, did you ever get to see the G Spend exhibit at QuiltCon, or did you?
I did go
You
through it
did.
quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was the one that is actually made from one of the male descendants. And I think he's an older man. I think he's probably like my age, or maybe older, but it had like a basketball team like uniforms and pieces of a basketball in it. And that's like that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So reading about this, just, an athletic garment that is kind of the same color that she substituted in there. That's what that reminds me of, that just being really, really resourceful. Whereas his choice to use the athletic garments was strictly design related, like he
I couldn't
consciously made
imagine
that
trying to
decision.
sew part of a basketball
Yeah, no kidding.
into my
um,
quilt.
it There was one spot where the quilting went through the basketball, and they were small pieces of basketball. It
My
wasn't,
goodness, did they have
yeah.
to like drive over the needle to get it through? Whew.
I don't know. I don't know. Probably
Man,
he used a leather needle. Probably, I would guess.
that's crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
you did get some close up. Oh yeah, that is a variety there.
Yeah, but from a distance, it reads as the pinwheels.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you get close that you realize, like, some of them are just a slightly, like, a different shade. They're just all shades of, like, like off white, buff, and yellow, very
Mm-hmm.
pale yellow. But
Mm-hmm.
it reads all together when you back up from it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I was saying. Like that's what reminds me of that wood and all the various
hmm.
like shades and things that run through wood grain. Hmm. This looks very heavy.
And it is, for
You picked it up?
a very important reason. No, but if you know what
Yeah.
you're looking at, you know
Yeah,
that
well, I see
this is
pieces of
heavy.
coverlet here, and then a lot of
Hmm.
this looks woolly. I mean, you can already tell
Hmm.
it's probably heavy because, I mean, for one, it's tied because like good luck quilting it. So we've got tied patchwork quilt and overshot coverlet, probably Virginia or Maryland, late 19th century, cotton wool linen, a gift of Margaret Paul Ernst in memory of Susan B. Ernst, 1989. I was 3 years old. Likely
I was in
made
high
in the
school.
Likely made in the Shenandoah Valley, this unique bed cover incorporates multiple types of fabric, suggesting the lean financial and material realities that communities endured in the aftermath of the American Civil War. The surface of the quilt features a humble patchwork pattern of homespun and flannel fabrics cut from worn blankets and clothing. Seemingly unconcerned with perfection, it's a weird sentence. The maker incorporated a length of flannel on the right side to complete the asymmetrical design. The quilt's reverse, illustrated below and partially visible at the binding edges, shows an expertly woven coverlet in a snowball pattern. This unusual combination of materials reveals how textiles, especially during periods of hardship, stupid bar thing is in my way. There we go. During hardship can be reactivated. That's another weird word for that. For the preservation
Yeah.
of family heritage, labor, and memory. I'm assuming
That
you
was
have. There
It's
we
a
go.
very, yeah, I do. I have a picture of the back. There was a little, it was like a little picture underneath that placard. I have that in there too. That is a strange word to use, reactivated.
Hmm.
Like the textiles have gone dormant.
Well, and also like the wording of like what was it? Uninterested in perfection. I for whatever. I'm like,
I'm also curious about probably Virginia or Maryland. And then they say likely the Shenandoah Valley. Well, if it was likely the Shenandoah Valley, it was definitely not Maryland, because the Shenandoah Valley is in southern Virginia, not anywhere near the Maryland border. So,
mhm.
anywho,
We seem to have quite a few peccadillos with the
And
placards.
if anybody from the American Folk Art Museum ever saw our recordings, it's highly unlikely, but if they ever did, I would say I am sorry for being picky, but the thing is I have such high regard for the museum
Mm.
that to see anything that I'm kind of like, "Huh, what?" I just I feel like when you love something, you want it to be perfect. So, hence my criticism.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that coverlet is beautiful. It's a
Oh, and there
yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very simple coverlid, but I mean, so
Effective.
beautiful. Hmm.
Yeah, very effective. Visually stimulating. Huh.
Yeah, this is fun.
This is just very calming.
And you know what this reminds me of? So back when Mary Fons was doing her Foundry project, which for Quilt Folk, which if you were not aware of that project, it was where she was finding primarily quilt tops, but also some blocks that had not been sewn together. And the very first iteration of like the where they did these quilt drops with the foundry is multiple quilters pitched in and finished the quilts. And in one case, I don't think it was ever, and it's I don't know. I think it was never identified specifically because I think there may have been there's issues there, but I will come right out and say Marianne Fons made one of the quilts, and it was a quilt that I think it had originally been pinwheels or something, and the blocks were terrible. Like they were never made into a quilt, obviously, because they did not fit together, and they were like all wonky and stuff. So she took them all apart, salvaged a bunch of geese, or made a bunch of geese. I can't remember if it was the geese were already together or if she took pinwheels and made them into geese. I can't remember, but her quilt looked exactly like this. Different colors, but looked exactly like this.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was very pretty and it was very cool. And I was blown away by what she did.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, you can tell us what this person did.
It's a flying geese quilt. 1870 cotton. Could you zoom in just a tiny bit more? Um,
Becca?
Yeah, Robin said she remembers. Yeah. When
Mm-hmm.
quilters economize, they often find new paths to expression. Traditional quilt patterns, such as flying geese, may derive in part from a lack of access to large lengths of fabric. In this example, unevenly pieced rows of chevron shaped fabric alternate with bands of a dotted blue printed cotton. Creative iterations of such established designs highlight the maker's aesthetic judgment and technical skill, as well as her material circumstances. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. it
Okay.
it very, very, very well could have been like they make these choices based on economizing fabric. That's what our dear friends in Pennsylvania often say. Those strippy quilts, the Amish strippy quilts, or the Mennonite strippy quilts, it's because they knew they only needed that length. And then they took the two fabrics, they split them, alternated them, and then they created the wide enough width. So
Mm-hmm.
entirely possible that's what we're looking at here. And the fact that the
Mm-hmm.
geese are scrappy maybe kind of says that. But I also don't agree that this wasn't the intention all together, that this is what they wanted to make versus what they had to make because it's all they had.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this there I feel like the and I mean this is where I'm kind of busting on curators here. I feel like the curator is one of those people who is of the mind that quilts are about scraps and sustenance and all that. And it's like at least half of this exhibit proves that wrong.
Yeah.
you know?
There's an abundance of just for pretty going
Absolutely. Those
on.
whole
Yeah.
cloth quilts we looked at last week, I mean, those are people that have money. They have means that made those quilts.
Mm-hmm.
Or their servants slash enslaved people made those quilts and
Mm-hmm.
they put their name on them. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh.
this one this one definitely is not like the bottom of it. It's not just ripply. The corner does is like longer on one
Yep.
side than it is on the other.
It's so endearing
It really is. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it is a lovable quilt.
and is so endearing. So we have Eva, we say Burrell.
Yeah, that's what I would say,
Yeah.
burl or burrow.
1924 to 2014. Strip quilt, Greene County, Alabama, circa 1989. I was 3 years old. Um, Cotton and synthetics. This quilt's simple arrangement of stacked rectangular pieces of fabric offered seemingly infinite combinations for the odds and ends that its maker, Eva Burrell, had at her disposal. Her preferred method seems to have involved alternating two types of fabric before switching to a new pairing. Rhythmically starting and stopping, the pattern's variegated parts come together through clustered dark blue and yellow strips across the quilt's surface. Do you
And
remember
might I point out, this is from the Cargo collection. Robert and Helen Cargo, who were major collectors.
where would I know that name from?
Mary Fons did a whole bunch of looking at them
Oh, did she?
and
I was
her
like, I was gonna say like
collections.
that
Yeah,
sounds briefly familiar, but I
but
can't remember
also
that.
yeah, the Cargos, they collect. They were kind of like artists and Robert James. They collected a wide swath of different things. I think they also collected a lot of Southern quilts. I think that's at Alabama, right? That
Mm-hmm.
this could very well be an African American quilt. I think they focused a lot on African American Southern quilts,
Mm-hmm.
if I
Do you
remember
remember if you
correctly.
got any close-ups of this one?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Ah,
Yes, this is when we were leaving. This was like, oh gosh, we're getting ready to leave, and I'm click, 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 click.
yeah, I love a good variety. And then it's so interesting to me when you have kind of this very like structured kind of shape, but then the quilting comes in and like swoops and moves, and
Mm-hmm.
I like that juxtaposition.
Yes,
My professor would be so proud. I
movement,
used to hate that word.
movement. Oh, I hate that word too. It's such
I
a
don't hate it
BS
so much
word.
now. Maybe I just hated the way he used it.
It's a catchword. It's a buzzword in the art community. Um, what I really loved about it is that I mean that quilt is clearly the fabrics are like household fabrics. Probably like
Hmm.
sheets and clothing, house dresses, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
This is the
Hmm.
last one. I do know that.
Okay.
Um, so this is a central diamond blanket from Oaxaca, Mexico, late 19th century wool. In the last quarter of the 19th century, weavers throughout Mexico met a growing international demand for their goods by blending traditional methods of construction with new technologies such as synthetic dyes. This Oaxacan blanket's use of thick homespun wool reflects an established regional weaving tradition. Its central diamond design similarly suggests a distinct local characteristic dating back centuries. The geometric motifs are reminiscent of the decoration found at uh, Mitla.
Mitla.
Mitla, a pre Columbian Zapotec settlement in the state of Oaxaca. Going beyond traditional practices and iconographies, Mexican weavers were also known to mix natural and synthetic dyes to produce new innovative colorants. The yellow of the dots in the central diamond may have been sourced from a species of parasitic plant called dodder. Interesting. While the salmon and green tones were likely the result of synthetic dyes.
Hmm.
I've really wondered why this was in this exhibit.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
mean, all I can
where
think
did
is
that come from?
it's about the dyes.
Hmm.
It's and so many of the little pieces that we're not showing were these exhibits and discussions of the plants that create, I mean, ecology, right? It's the plants that they made the dyes from, etc. But this is the only textile in this entire show that is not a quilt. So it was just odd to me that they had this versus
Hmm.
another piece of another quilt. But
Hmm.
it's a beautiful item. I think it's
Hmm.
gorgeous.
I mean, it does definitely have some quilt kind of vibes to it, the way that
Yeah,
it's set up.
sure, yeah.
But no, I agree. And also, in case anyone is just wondering, that chunk about like dies and things like that. There were just so many of those that will just need to be another stream if we're looking at
Yeah,
those.
and I mean, I'll be honest, they weren't it was a lot of the placards, it was definitely more reading than things to look at per se.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of moved those to the side when I gave Jill these pictures. They were it was definitely interesting. It was I don't think there was anything that we haven't like already kind of discussed in different
While reading Mauve, for one.
yeah.
Move.
Mauve.
All right. Well,
Speaking of mauve, you guys, I got a new pair of tennis shoes the other day. They were my husband loves New Balance, so anybody who wears New Balance, you might know they come in a wild range of like people whose feet are this wide to for people whose feet are this wide. And my husband has very wide feet, and so he likes to buy New Balance because they come in his width. And he was telling me because he wasn't home, and he said, "Look out because I've got these shoes coming." And I was like, "Okay," because the weather, it'd been rainy. He didn't want them sitting out on the porch in the rain. So I was like, "What else do they have on clearance?" So I
uh-huh.
ended up finding this cool pair of tennis shoes, and they called the color like I'm trying to think. It was something like ice wine and lilac or something like that. But I swear it looks like a washed out mauve. And I haven't worn them yet because they're suede and I need to Scotch guard them.
I think we also need to see a picture.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of them. I'll show them next time. I promise.
You better. But next time is going to be Saturday for our stitch and
Okay,
glitch.
well, I'll remember to
That is
wear
the
them because
perfect well, that is the perfect time to show us before you start talking about chicken sandwiches
I'll be at my mom's for Stitch and Glitch, so I'll be in a different environment,
with chicken sandwiches.
possibly. I'll send her out while we're streaming.
All right, y'all. It has been an hour and a half already. And I got stuff to do. So it has
Yeah,
been lovely, lovely. And we will
yeah.
see you on Saturday. Hopefully, Steph will have fixed the mics by then.
Well, I can tell you, I will have a different mic for sure
Oh,
when I'm
yeah,
at
that's
my
right.
mom's. I'm not bringing this, but I got to figure this out before my own stream on Thursday. So
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. All right, y'all. Have a
All right.
fantastic evening, and we love you. Bye.